Hello, my name's Kate Davies and I'm an independent fertility nurse consultant. I want to talk to you today about dealing with your emotions when you're going through a fertility journey. It can be really hard dealing with emotions, and you may feel as though life is on hold. You've kind of pressed pause while you're navigating your fertility treatments, and you might feel that you've lost a lot of joy out of your life because perhaps you're not booking a holiday. You're not booking a weekend away because you're worried about the fact that you might be going through treatments and therefore it's difficult to plan anything in the future. You might also have not taken that promotion or progressed your career because you're concerned about what the future is going to look like. Could you be pregnant in the future? And then how is that going to then fit in with your immediate career prospects? So life goes on pause, life is on hold. And because of that, a lot of the joy that you are experiencing generally before you started on this crazy train of fertility treatments has gone. Everything is about focusing on getting pregnant. So it can feel incredibly overwhelming, and you might be experiencing quite a lot of stress. And one of the biggest concerns my patients have when they're feeling stressed is how is that impacting on their fertility? And I want to put this into some context for you and hopefully take away some of that anxiety about stress and also some of that guilt, because when you're stressing, you're worrying that the stressing is causing impact on your fertility, and then you're stressing because you're stressing. So I want to take away some of that guilt today by talking about how stress impacts on our body and whether or not stress actually does impact on your fertility. So if we take it back to basics, when you experience stress, you get this fight flight experience, this feeling of heart racing, sweaty palms, feeling probably quite thirsty. All of those are your immediate reactions. And this is your body preparing you to get the hell out of here because it wants you to avoid that stressful situation. And as a result, this increases cortisol in your body because your body uses that hormone to help reduce the stress reaction. So that immediate reaction, that immediate heart pumping experience that we go through means that, yes, absolutely, that moment, your body isn't going to be prioritizing fertility and reproducing. Of course it's not, because that's an immediate chronic and very strong response to stress. But our body doesn't stay in that situation and feeling in that way for a very long period of time. Our body is able to adapt so that level of stress changes slightly. And so we are then able to go back to prioritizing our fertility. To put it into more context, there is a wonderful professor called Jackie Bovine, who is a professor at Cardiff University. She's dedicated her whole career to looking at the impact of stress on fertility. And all of her research and her literature reviews have shown that there actually isn't an impact on your fertility with regards to stress. And what I mean by that is that stress doesn't appear to impact on your fertility outcomes through IVF. Now, that's probably going to A, be a massive relief, but B, be completely 180 out to what you've been told before. And I understand that because we're told, aren't we, that stress impacts on fertility. The reason that she has come to this conclusion is if you look at areas of incredible amounts of poverty and areas that are war-torn across the world, they have some of the highest birth rates in the world. Now, that tells us that at that time, our bodies are able to adapt and go back to prioritizing fertility. And the immediate stress of whatever it might be that's going on, of course, it's not going to be. But later on, as our bodies adapt, and our body is very good adapting, then you are able to go on to prioritize fertility. And therefore, being stressed does not impact on your fertility outcomes. But the question is, should we avoid stress? Should we avoid dealing with our emotions? Absolutely, of course not. Being stressed, feeling emotional, feeling overwhelmed is not a great place to be. And therefore, there is so much that we need to do to help ourselves with that, not only from a mental health point of view, but from a physical point of view too. Because what is it that we do when we're stressed? We end up perhaps working too hard, not sleeping very well. We might not eat very well, or we might overeat, comfort eat perhaps. We might start enjoying a glass too much of alcohol, or start smoking to counteract stress. Those are the indirect effects of stress that do have an impact on our fertility. So those are the things when you're feeling stressed that you need to be mindful of and make healthy lifestyle changes to counteract those. So I hope that explains that stress itself doesn't have an impact, but it's the indirect effect of stress that does. And I hope it also takes some guilt away as well. What is important when you're dealing with emotions is that you build up a good support strategy. Now, this could be from family, from friends. They can be incredible avenues of support. And actually, as we know, a problem shared is a problem halved. So by talking and getting out there and not saying, yes, I'm fine, when actually, how are you really, can be really, really beneficial. But be mindful that friends and family also come with their own agenda. So it might be that as part of your support strategy, and I always talk to my patients of, it's not just one element of support you need lots of things in your strategy to help support you. So it could be that you look for professional help, whether it be counselling or coaching, and that can be really beneficial in understanding your emotions and going forward with feeling in a much better place. As well as being a nurse specialist, I'm also a qualified fertility coach, and I work with a lot of my patients in helping them to put that joy back into their life when it all feels very overwhelming and very fertility focused. So that can be a really important part, is to get that professional help, but also find other avenues, books, podcasts. Nobody knows what you're listening to when you've got a podcast in your ears, and it's great to be able to listen to that on a car journey, on the train, you commute to work, taking a dog for a walk, and the help that you can get from those podcasts can be amazing. There are lots of really good fertility podcasts out there, but I'm going to give a little plug for mine. So mine is the Fertility Podcast. So please go and check that out too, because myself and my co-host, we have been working together for a number of years to provide great content, and I'm going solo with the podcast in the next month or so. So there's going to be lots of really good information, and I'm going to be sharing patient journeys. And the reason why I want to share patient journeys is that I want to find a place where you can find commonality and support. That is the most important thing for me. When you're going through a difficult fertility journey, you feel so alone and isolated. But if you can find that commonality and that support, it can make such a difference. So I'm sharing patient journeys so that you can feel not alone. And it might be that some of those patient journeys are same as yours or very similar, and you can take comfort from that. So I hope that's helped in explaining all about emotions and dealing with stress. And like I said, I'm really hoping it's taken some of the guilt away so that you don't feel that stress as much.